Oops. Hang with me now. Well, a little technical difficulties here. There we go. I'm going to turn that off. There we go. Give me just 1 second. Alright, good. Looks like it's going out live. Let me share it a little bit. Make sure this is correct. Alright. Looks public. Let's go to some groups and then we'll get started. If you're out there and want to share to any groups, feel free to do so. Share it any way you like. Get this thing rolling here. Just going to go ahead and put it out in some of the groups. We'll get a little bit of coverage. Well, alright, let me turn this thing off real quick. I'm just using that little intro just because. This is something I made up, so let me get this out in just a couple more places. And good evening. Welcome to Kingdom Lum Small Town Underground. Like I said, feel free to share this. This is Wednesday night podcast. And I want to fire off a video at the very get-go, and then we'll get started. Introduce you to Representative Mike Johnson.
Made the social media platforms pull that information off the internet if it came from conservative sources. They did this under the guise that it was disinformation. Can you define what disinformation is?
What I can tell you is that our focus is not on disinformation, broadly speaking.
Well, wait a minute. Yes, it is. Wait a minute.
Can I answer the question?
You can in a minute. Your star witness said in the litigation, Elvis Chan, who's in charge of this, said they do it on the basis of disinformation. We need a definition of what that is.
Our focus is on malign foreign disinformation, that is, foreign hostile actors who engage in covert efforts to abuse our social media platforms, which is something that is not seriously in dispute.
I have to stop you for time. That's not accurate. You need to read this court opinion because you're in charge of enforcing it. The court has found that, and Elvis Chan testified under oath in charge of this for you. He said 50%. He had a 50% success rate in having alleged election disinformation taken down or censored. That wasn't just foreign adversaries, sir. That was American citizens. How do you answer for that?
Well, first off, I'm not sure that's a correct characterization.
Comes right out of the opinion. You should read it.
Of his testimony. But what I would say is the FBI is not in the business of moderating content or causing any social media company to suppress or censor.
That is not what the court has found.
All right, so we just get a little bit here of, let me get this turned off here. Mike Johnson. Now, why did I share Mike Johnson? He has been nominated as the new Speaker of the House, who barely any of us know who Mike Johnson is, or at least I've never heard his name brought forward before. So, as you can see up here, the Liberty Daily is reporting. So I thought we'd just take a quick look at Mike Johnson. But before we do that, well, we'll go ahead and just cover Mike Johnson, right? Because I don't want to spend all evening on him. But what do we expect from new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson? So let's go back up here. Let's see, where's it at? They're calling him Mega MAGA Mike Johnson, elected Speaker of the House. Now, you know, I would have loved to see Jim Jordan up there. I think all of us would have loved to see Jim Jordan. But who is Mike Johnson? So Representative Mike Johnson voted new House Speaker. All right, let's get a little bit more familiar with him. After 3 weeks without the Speaker, the House voted Wednesday to elect Representative Mike Johnson of Louisiana. Johnson secured the gavel without losing any GOP votes, so it was a total across-the-board GOP vote. The final tally was 220 votes for Johnson And of course, 209 for House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, right? Here are the key things you need to know. And this is from CNN Politics, so the trusted news, CNN. All right, Johnson is a Trump ally. Oh my God, a Trump ally. Jeez. The speaker was a key congressional figure in the failed efforts to overturn the 2020 election. I wouldn't call that a failed effort. Anyway, for former President Donald Trump, he sent an email from a personal account in 2020 to every House Republican soliciting signatures for an amicus brief in the long-shot Texas lawsuit seeking to invalidate electoral college votes from multiple states. Oh, Lord. He now faces pressing issues, including a potential shutdown. As if any other one wouldn't face a potential shutdown, November the 17th, because we just keep kicking the can down the road. Right? Like, this is stupid. He's pushing for an aggressive schedule. Oh, God, and aggressive in quotes. So, this is a joke. I maybe this is a good thing. I don't know about Mike Johnson, right? Don't know a whole lot about him. I mean, I looked him up a little bit today. I found that clip. Him, basically calling out Christopher Wray, because we all know what the FBI and the CIA and all of our little friends are doing with social media. We know about this from the Twitter files. We know about this from government documents, from lawyers, from judges. We know that they were single-handedly were the Russian collusionists, right? And we still have some disbelievers out there. I think it's funny, but let's see. Let me go back to one other. Hang on a second, boy. Let's see. Yeah, the National File story here. Let's see what they have to say about it. GOP. This is from National Fire. GOP Speaker nominee Mike Johnson owned by a war machine. Okay. Newest GOP savior, Louisiana's Mike Johnson, heavily funded by pharma. Mike Johnson, who praised Zelensky and supports Israel, becomes latest Republican Speaker frontrunner. So I'm giving it to you from both sides, really, because this came out of nowhere. This came completely out of left field, and it got every single Republican vote. So who knows where we move from here, right? I have no idea, but I will tell you I enjoyed the break with no House Speaker, and I enjoyed McCarthy getting removed from the speakership. And here we are. No big deal. Everything's worked out just like we said it would. The House didn't implode on itself, and it was actually quite nice that, Congress didn't pass any new crazy crap, right? So we're just going to have to watch it, folks. We're going to have to watch it and see. Do I have another one here? What do we expect? We'll go ahead and cover this real quick because we need to get to know Mike Johnson, right? He's our new Speaker of the House, right? Let's see here. The good news is Speaker Johnson, and this is from the Liberty Daily. The good news is Speaker Johnson is by far the least swampy speaker in the House in decades. Well, that's a good thing. The bad news is the standstill in the House will end and government will pick up where it left off, right? I can't agree more with that. Having Capitol Hill on hold for a few weeks is not, I just got done saying that, and I did not read this article before. So, right. Hit the nail on the head. It was nice. It was very nice not to have to put up with all the crap. So, and he will have no time to ease into the job. He has a little over 3 weeks to either make a deal with Democrats or let the government shut down. Of course, the doom and gloom about the government shutting down. I mean, it's not that I don't care about government workers and all that stuff, but let me refresh everybody's memory. The last time that we went through a government shutdown, which was about either 28 or 32 days, I can't remember, but basically the government shut down and everybody got furloughed. And then, of course, once they struck the deal, guess what? Everybody got back paid and everybody was happy. I mean, it's not, they want to doom and gloom this thing like it's the end of the world when I'm pretty certain I could live the rest of my life without government. I mean, I could. I may not be very long, right? That might be short-sighted because, another country would take over, blah, blah. But you get what I'm saying. It's all doom and gloom constantly at us. So now, the news headlines are going to be dominating for the next few weeks. The next government shutdown, the looming shutdown, and it's going to highlight everything that they're doing and all the bickering and fighting and infighting what they're going to do, and they're going to try to throw them into the mud. It's the same old song and dance, right? So Mike Johnson is your new Speaker of the House, so we all should get to know Mr. Johnson. And actually, I don't know why that's up there, but actually, it's kind of nice that it's a new, fresh face that we can all sink into and get to know, right? Because everybody's got baggage, and Mike Johnson from Louisiana, folks. All right, that's enough on that. So tonight, I'm not going to stay on for very, very long. I just want to kind of be chill. There's lots of things going on. Lots of good things going on. Some bad things going on, right? But we're still here. We're still breathing. You know, we're still alive, right? What? No better time to be alive from what I'm told. So I want to send a special shout out to David Naha, who I've met recently from our Patriot Camp out and talking online. He came to our Walker County GOP meeting for the first time the other day and has pledged his support to get involved. He's a patriot, and anytime that I can highlight people that are standing up and getting involved and saying, I want to be a part of this, I want to move forward, I want to recognize. So we appreciate you, David Naha, for getting involved with the GOP and moving forward, because we need a lot more people. We should have hundreds and hundreds of people involved with the GOP, and we don't have nearly enough people. And the only way you can find out what's going on is to come to the meetings and see what's happening and see where things are moving and find out where you can fit into that, where you can go forward, right? Because really what we want transparency, we want common sense, logic, reason. You know, we want to stand for our Constitution. I mean, we want to move this party away from this crony establishment, rhino kind of system, and we want to get the power back to we the people. And we realize now, right, that we're not only fighting what we should be fighting, which is this liberal Marxist idiocracy that's taken over our country, right? But what we want to do, what we should be doing is fighting them. What we realize is that we have too much infighting. We're fighting ourselves, right? We've got these factions of people who want to be. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to do anything outside of their little bubble. They just want to keep moving forward and control the little things, and they don't want to shake things up, right? And so they move in the opposite direction, right? Well, I wanted to kind of share my thoughts on that with everybody because, you see, I'm a grassroots type person. I'm not a person who is an establishment type person, right? And I'm not a complete anti-government person. I'm for a much smaller government. But, you know, we get called names like conspiracy theorists and anti-government and all these things. When there's clear and present evidence that comes out that nearly everything is somewhat corroborated, that there's nothing coincidental, you know. So you get called crazy when you talk about these things. But see, when I came into this scene, I only cared about one thing, and that was protecting my Second Amendment rights, right? Because if freedom of speech is of the utmost importance, right? No matter if I agree or disagree, I want people to speak and speak their mind, speak freely. But if you don't protect the Second Amendment, then every other amendment goes away, right? And it's not even I'm a gun nut. I mean, I love guns. But I don't care about the guns. I care about being able to protect myself from a tyrannical government, a tyrannical system, right? So that's my primary goal coming into this was you're not going to mess with my guns. You're not going to take my guns away, all right? Because that Second Amendment protects that Constitution, all right? It gives you somewhat of a level playing field because if they take the guns away, they take everything away from you, right? And I'll show that to you in a minute. But my point is that I started out solely on the Second Amendment. And of course, it's transpired to way more than that. But our First Amendment rights are being violated in every which way, shape, and form. And I vehemently disagree with it. I think, especially when you talk about the censoring of our state senator, Colton Moore. I think it's a travesty. But then again, it lies the point of this infighting on all sides, right? I completely understand. We're divided, and that's where we're going to stay. And I'll move along to that other point in a second about that. But anyway, it is what it is. But that's where I started from, and it's kind of blossomed into a lot of other things, like getting involved in other areas and getting involved locally, and without even an angle. Like I'm a free agent. You know, nobody controls me. I just get up here and do these things as I see fit. I don't expect everybody to agree, and I don't expect everybody to like it. But I do expect you to get some skin in the game, right? Because you can't sit on your hands. I say this all the time. You cannot sit on your hands and expect everybody else to do the job, right? But once I got into this, and this is my point about all this, all right, Second Amendment's one thing. But I was welcomed into this grassroots movement to go against the establishment people, okay? Who was John Cowan at the time, right? John Cowan was the country club next Republican, congressman. He was there, and he was already picked by everybody, and he was already vetted, and he was the one. And some lady named Marjorie Greene comes on the scene, and there's a whole bunch of people that love her sass talk and love what she has to say, and she's all grassroots, and she's moving forward, and she's for the people. And she amassed enough support to get elected, right? So she was not the status quo. She never was the status quo. She was the underdog who got elected by the people. The people believed in her messaging, and they believed in what she was saying and what she stood for, that we were able to defeat the status quo. Okay? The same thing with Colton Moore. Colton Moore was having an uphill battle. He decided to run for state senate, okay? And he had challengers and all of these different things, and these challengers were kind of what this establishment was wanting to put into the picture and get them going. And we, the people, through our grassroots movements, what do? We got Colton Moore elected. So I've got two examples, okay, of working with grassroots and working with just normal people who decided to get involved and listen to the messaging and listen to the people and holding the people accountable, and we were able to defeat the status quo. Now the tables are turned. Now people like me are activated, and we're actively looking for grassroots candidates that will stand by their word and do what they say, right? Now we're getting pushback. We're getting accused of dividing the party. We're getting accused of being the rabble rousers, right? You created me. You people created me. You got me involved, and now you're telling me that I just need to stop what I'm doing and I need to focus on winning, right? I need to just get behind whoever, whatever, and that has an R next to its name and just go with it, right? Well, I'm sorry, but I don't take kindly too much to the oxymorons of it, the irony of that's going on right now. So you've activated all these people to get political, to get these candidates elected in these positions, and you expect us to just stop like, well, we put a Band-Aid on things, we fix things, right? No. I am not buying this one iota. So I make you my pledge now. For starters, I'm going to highlight people that I want to highlight, okay? But I'm not going to endorse any particular candidate, okay? And I'll tell you why that I'm not going to endorse any candidates here. The main reason is because nobody out there should be going on an endorsement of somebody else, right? I know this is the way the game's played, and, of course, there's good people that are endorsing good candidates. But you should be doing your own homework on your own people, in your own precincts, in your own counties, and you should be doing some homework to figure out, just like we're going to have to do some homework on this Mike Johnson. Who is he? Okay? How did he get the support out of the blue from all the Republicans, right? We need to know. But it's up to you, all right? Now, before primary, it's up to you to figure out where your heart is, okay? And stop listening to these people that tell you, you don't follow your heart, you get behind, you're going to divide the party. It's all BS. It's just gaslighting. It's just people trying to push their agenda onto you, right? That's trying to push their ideals onto you and make you think or manipulate you in ways that best suits them. All I'm ever going to tell you to do is do your own research. If you don't like the candidate, or you've got somebody that you think that is going to represent you, you vote for that person. I don't care who it is. I really don't care, because I'm not up here to be a cheerleader for this political game. Okay? You make up your own decision. And don't listen to anybody else. And the same people that will tell you to vote your conscience will just sit there and turn around and tell you who to vote for. Yeah, they want you to vote their conscience. No. Once the primary dust settles, we have who we have. And I've said this in every election cycle since I've been doing this. All right? But it's up to you. You've got to put some skin in the game. You have to go... Dang, I probably did share the wrong one. Anyway, I'm checking this, but you need to just look at these candidates and vote for who you want to vote for. All right? Don't listen to anybody else. So, crap. Let's see here. Darn it. I did share the wrong one, y'all. I am so sorry about that. And thank you to the people that are with me right now, because I screwed up. Hang on one second, folks. I'm going to fix this, all right? It is now public because, man, they continue to censor me. So if you can help me, I'm going to go ahead and share this out in some groups real quick, because I sent the wrong one out. It's always something. But it is public now. See, I have this problem now where every time I go live, it automatically puts my video as private, and I have to go back in, and I have to share it on public, and then go back out, and then I can share it. And apparently, I got mixed up and sent the wrong one out. So my apologies. So let me get this done right here. And thank you for letting me know, Jennifer. I just saw that. So I just sent the right one out. So my apologies. So anyway, like I was saying, it's up to you. You vote your conscience. You vote how you want to vote. You vote for the strongest candidate that you see fit, and don't worry about anything else. All right? You're not dividing the party. You're not doing anything wrong. And the people that are sitting there pointing the fingers at you, we can see right through you. It's ridiculous to sit there and preach and talk about this stuff. I mean, we got 2 grassroots candidates elected by doing what we're doing right now. And now people are trying to get us to stop what we're doing because we're creating too much of a ruckus. Let me tell you, if you're comfortable right now, if you're comfortable with where we are at as a civilization, as a society, if you're comfortable with our government, you need to do a little head check, because there's nothing comfortable about where we're at and what the future looks like right now. Right? So I will vote my conscience, and I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. All right? That goes for Donald Trump. It goes for anybody. Okay? That's your decision. You make that decision, and you need to do the homework based on your curriculum, your research, and how you feel. That's as plain as I can get it. So now we have Mike Johnson. We need to do the research. We need to figure out who this guy is, if he's going to be held accountable, if we're going to get Republican first, Freedom Caucus, constitutional stuff going on here, or whether it's going to be the same old can kicking down the road, right? So, my special shout out, thank you, David. I also want to talk about this book, and this is a free plug. All right, I'm going to hold this up, and I'm going to let everybody see it. No Grid Survival Projects. Now, this book I just got in today. I hadn't even got to look at it yet, all right? But I'm sharing this with everybody because I want them to know that this is not a scam. I get this thing on my Facebook all the time. It's called The Book of the Lost Ways and No Grid Survival Projects and all of these things. So I put it in the back of my mind and thought, I may get this one day, right? Because I collect a lot of stuff, and of course, I have a lot of digital stuff, but I try to put everything on paper where I have a physical copy of it, right? So, a friend of mine, he actually downloaded the book, and he bought the book and told me. He just happened to mention it one day. He said, hey, I got this book. I'm like, really? So you did it? You know, I'm really like weary of Facebook scams. And he showed me it was a real book. I flipped through it a little bit, and I'm like, wow, okay. So this is a real thing. So I went to the Facebook link, and I made sure. I mean, I studied this thing for like a half hour because I'm a conspiracy theorist. And so finally, I decided, okay, I'm going to do this. And the book ended up costing me about $50. All right. But you also get like a digital copy, and then you get about 4 other digital copies of manuals that are like living in the 1900s and survival shelters and all kinds of cool stuff. And then it takes you to another page that has, well, about 35 PDF documents, all right? So anyway, I'm doing a free plug because I think this is important for all my viewers and all my people out there, right? Because I talk about just preparedness. You need to be prepared. And I wanted to show everybody that I did the link and I bought it myself. So I ended up buying the digital copies as well. So I spent probably about $100 on all of it. But I think it's totally worth it. I've been going through these PDF documents and looking through them and printing them out, and I've started my own book with it. And there is a plethora of information. I'm talking about a huge amount of information about all kinds of no-grid survival projects, right? Because we've forgotten these things. The Foxfire books, Standard Living, Without Power, all these things. Because you got to remember, if the power goes out, everything stops, right? Our civilization is wholly dependent on electricity. So we don't know how to live anymore. Our kids think that the meat comes straight from what? The grocery store. So I just wanted to kind of share that as a testimonial. I bought it. It's here. I've got it. And it's pretty cool, man. I'm doing a lot of like printing off of this stuff. And I think it's a good thing. It's not doom and gloom. It's just awesome, interesting ideas that you can use around your place. I mean, there's so much there, but hey, it's good to have it. It's like an insurance policy, right? If something goes out, or even if you have to survive outside of the wilderness, you can get all kinds of cool ideas from this. I did it, and if you want to know how to do it, I'll help you do it, because I think right now, especially having paper copies of everything is super important, right? Because we can have all of these things on our computer, and we can, what do you do when you got a problem? You got a key stuck in your car, this check engine light comes on with a certain code. What do? You go to YouTube, you look it up, and there's this magic video there that tells you exactly what's going on and exactly how to fix it, right? Well, if the power goes out, guess what? All that information goes away. So it's good to have something like this on your bookshelf in your back, your back room somewhere, where you've got ideas that you can build basically out of scratch that don't require electricity. So I wanted to share that with you. I think that's really, really cool. So we're going to move on a little bit. Let's see. Jamal Bowman. All right. Everybody should know this name by now. I'm going to blow this up just a little bit, right? So, looks like he was charged. Jamal Bowman charged for pulling fire alarm. New York Democrat facing prosecution for stunt during votes to avoid government shutdown. So, they investigated the guy. I mean, like, they had him on video. Capitol Police have concluded their investigation into New York Democrat. He has been charged with 1 misdemeanor despite saying it was a mistake. So, they're still leaving doubt. They're still leaving doubt in this story that it was just a mistake that he pulled the fire alarm, when there's clear evidence. All right, I mean, there's proof. It's not even evidence. It's proof that he pulled the fire alarm knowingly, right? And so he's basically given a slap on the wrist. He's going to pay a small fine, and it's going to be charged as a misdemeanor. Meanwhile, you have people like, let's see if I can find it here. I was trying to look for Owen Schroyer because this is crazy. Hang on one second. Liberty Daily, where's it at? Let me go back one. Owen Schroyer. I've lost my... Anyway, Owen Schroyer from InfoWars was charged with yet a misdemeanor as well. And he is having to serve 6 months in jail. 6 freaking months in jail, and he didn't even go into the Capitol, and they're putting him in solitary confinement. I mean, this is where we're at as a nation. All right, this is how crazy that things are going. And I'm sorry, y'all, I can't find the video right now. Or the story, for crying out loud. Anyway, if you don't know who Owen Schroyer is, he was the one, like I said, from InfoWars that got charged with a misdemeanor for violating some kind of probation violation that he wasn't even supposed to be on Capitol grounds. And they put him in solitary confinement. This cat's having to do 6 months in jail for doing nothing, basically. And they're putting him in confinement. Solitary confinement, if you can believe that. So if you think that it's going to stop at just people like InfoWars people or Donald Trump or Colton Moore, no. If they're coming after these people, you better believe that they're going to come after people like us. So just be prepared for that, because it's a travesty when you start going into that story and you start reading about it and find out how petty this is, right? So on one hand, you can have a man that literally pulls a fire alarm, right, inside the Capitol to avert a vote, and then you put somebody else in jail for 6 months just for standing on the steps of the Capitol, all right? And don't get me wrong, this whole little Hamas deal that happened last week, I'm not calling it an insurrection, because if I call that an insurrection, I got to call January 6th an insurrection, and we all know that January 6th wasn't an insurrection. So whatever you want to call it is fine with me, but it's not an insurrection. It was just a moment of stupidity is what I'd like to call that. So I'll cover just a few more things here. This was an interesting fact check here, and I'm going to go ahead and play this. I haven't watched it yet. I just read this article, but we'll play it real quick. See if it'll play. The sound's off. Hold on, let's try this again, y'all.
Murder, she didn't, but whatever, we have to pretend it. And then they leave, and they move on to the next thing to destroy.
Let's try that again. Sorry about that, y'all. Technical difficulties tonight. You got to be kidding me. Anyway, all right. That didn't work. All right, Tucker Carlson. Let's just read the story real quick here. Conservative pundit, and this is from Newsweek. Conservative pundit Tucker Carlson has claimed this week that new court papers show George Floyd was not murdered in May 2020 by then police officer Derek Chauvin. Former Minneapolis, we know Minneapolis police officer who is white, of course they say that, was found guilty of third-degree murder, manslaughter, death of George Floyd, who was black. So it's automatically a black and white issue. Now we've got everybody divided because it's black and white, which means it's race. It's race, right? Just keep you divided. It's ridiculous. In a new clip on X, formerly Twitter, on Friday, Carlson alleged a recent court deposition has proven Chauvin had not murdered Floyd. However, as Newsweek has found, Carlson's analysis bears some examination. Now, I want to break that down, because this was a fact check. They're not saying that Tucker Carlson's analysis is wrong or false. They're saying his analysis bears some examination. So the rest of this article is going to be circumstantial doubt, right? When we all know, I believe they did 2 autopsies on George Floyd. My point is, it's a tragic thing what happened. Okay? There's no doubt it's a tragic thing. And I go back to the same thing that I said from the very beginning, okay? The day, I remember that where I was the day that I saw that clip. And I remember the anger that overwhelmed me in my head and my heart, because I see this cop with his knee on this guy's neck, back, whatever it is, right? Okay? Because I'm human. I see the same thing. I've seen cops, corrupt cops. I've seen cops that do things bad. I don't label all cops as bad, just like I don't label all black people as bad or all Hispanic people as bad. You get what I'm saying? But they want to break you into this race division like this, okay, which is all BS. It's real stupid, and we can see through it. But I remember seeing it that day. And it was only until I looked further into it and I watched the entire 20-minute video of the full 5,000-foot view before you realize that this thing was taken so far out of context. So blown out of context. Just like Kyle Rittenhouse or anything else, right? Just like Jussie Smollett, right? It was blown so far out of context. Then you were sold a bill of goods on an emotional basis to get you stirred up, There's so much more to this story. Now, no doubt there's 2 autopsies that come out that confirm that he had taken a whole lot of fentanyl before this. There was complications during all of this. So I'm not going to go into specifics on whether or not, because I'm not a judge, I'm not a jury, I'm not an executioner. But you go back through these stories, okay? And what does it say? They're trying to fact check this stuff, which his analysis bears some examination. So if you want to look into that, you want to research that, just understand that it's a total gaslight. Because I can't believe that we're celebrating this man every year, wanting to make holidays for him and all these things, who was like a known druggie, supposedly had rape charges, and all of these things have been going on. A criminal. And because this tragic event, carries out the way it did, the perception of this event carries out, has created all of this controversy and has created all of this just insanity around it. It's the same thing that happened a week and a half ago with a hospital in Israel, which I didn't might have covered it a little bit. So all of a sudden, Israel is bombing Hamas in Palestine, and what do we hear? We hear a hospital's been blown up. Okay, hospital gets blown up, and all of a sudden, in a 24-hour period, we got 5 embassies on fire. We got hundreds of thousands of people protesting, and the war drums are beating back and forth. And then we've realized, and even our president was there in Israel that day with Netanyahu, and they didn't even know that the hospital wasn't blown up. Nobody knew. It was the fog of war. But in a 24-hour span from the news just pushing this out and getting it out there and being the first here, first there, we find out it was a parking lot that got exploded, the parking garage, which is still tragic. The whole damn thing is tragic. All right? But it was a false bill of goods. And by the time it's out there and people are enraged and people are going out of their mind and they're acting on their emotions, it's too late. They don't even care. You think 24 hours later that everybody come out, which the media did not come out, and did not retract their statements? Do you think anybody just stopped and said, oh man, they didn't blow up that hospital, I'm going to quit what I'm doing? No, you're seeing more division now than you've ever seen in your life. Okay? So keep that in mind, all right? And if there's any doubt in your mind is what I'm saying, you need to watch the 20-minute video. If you can even find the 20-minute video of Derek Chauvin, because I was just like everybody else, like, man, that dude needs a fry. Guess what? You go back and you watch the whole entire video and understand the context behind it, and then you understand that he was high as a kite and probably already took a fatal dose of fentanyl when all this happened. You have the perfect storm. It was that little bitty slither of perception that's got everybody divided down here. And you got to remember, this cop was white and this guy was black, and it's black and it's white, and we got to keep race divided. We got to continue to just hate each other over the color of our skin, and it is the dumbest crap in the world. Don't fall for it. Don't listen to them. It's ridiculous. It's all a part of their plan, man. So I thought I'd share that. I have not watched the Tucker Carlson video yet. I plan on watching it this evening. But he also had a really good interview with Douglas McGregor. And if you don't know who Douglas McGregor is, he was, I believe, a military general. He's been hot on the wire, and I'm not going into the war, World War III. But if you want a really good analysis on where, some people that I kind of not trust, but people that I listen to about where we're at in the state of war, it'd be good to check out this Tucker Carlson Douglas McGregor video, because I didn't get to do the whole thing, and I'm going to watch it again either tonight or tomorrow. But guess what? We're in World War III, folks. I mean, we're already here. It ain't right here. I'm not out here fending for my life. But make no mistake, man. We're on a multi-front war with countries that haven't even got involved yet. We've stretched ourselves thin. We have no president. We've got no government to do anything for us, and they will do everything they can to make this happen, right? Because we've got to feed the military-industrial complex. We've got to keep things rolling. Now there is nobody paying any attention to Russia and Ukraine. And now it's all eyes on Israel and Iran, and they're just beating these drums as if they want it to happen tomorrow, just like they did with the hospital. So who knows, right? It's fog of war. All right? And it's a sad state of affairs we're in. Hence, a free plug. You might want to think about ordering your no-grid survival projects, right? I mean, what could it hurt? So, I want to bring up just a few more things, because I'm going to be all over the place tonight. I'm not really... I didn't really have a theme for this show, and I didn't want to go crazy off into the dark. So, I do want to point this out. I've told you all in the past about Georgia and digital IDs. Now, call me crazy. I'm a conspiracy theorist. But we're already in stage 1 of digital IDs. And we're not the only state. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's maybe up to 26 states now that are doing this. Okay? But I just want to read this. This is from the website of the Georgia Department of Driver Services. Okay? It's just something that you need to be aware of, because this is one of those incremental, real sleepy things that's moving our way. Okay? And things that we can probably jump on that we need to. So from the Georgia Department of Driver Services, Georgia Digital License and ID. Georgia Digital License and ID now available on Apple and Android devices. So it came out on Apple first. They've now got it for Android. Now you can add your Georgia driver's license or state ID to either Apple Wallet or Google Wallet. This makes TSA checkpoints quick, easy, and secure. While it is not a replacement for your physical copy, your Georgia Digital ID can speed up the process at select TSA checkpoints. So the Georgia Digital ID is for the Apple and the Google Wallet now. Now, why do I bring this up? Well, I mean, a lot of people that have money fly a lot, right? So that's enticing, right? You can get through TSA with a digital ID really, really quick, right? It's going to make everything more quick and more convenient and all of these things. Well, guess what? I mean, this is stage 1, the voluntary stage. They're still setting this stuff up. It first started on Apple. Now it's on Android, okay? Eventually, it's going to go into stage 2. Eventually, it's going to go into stage 3 and stage 4, where they will have digital IDs, complete digital IDs, that are going to be tethered to everything. If you go back and look at the executive legislation that was passed in September by your governor, Brian Kemp, who can share that information from agency to agency all over the state without your knowledge. So I'm painting the picture. I'm trying to weave this puzzle together so you understand that while we're down here bickering and fighting and we don't like each other's race and we're Republicans, but I'm this Republican and that Republican, this stuff is just moving right along. You understand? This stuff is the stuff that's in the seedy underbelly that's coming. All with the digital revolution. All a way to digitize our money, right? And it also ties into the war because of BRICS and because our petrodollar is just smoldering to the point of being on fire now, that they will do everything they can to digitize every bit of this, okay? And I keep hounding on it because I want more legislation involved. I want legislators to be involved. I want more of our representatives to understand we don't want this digital ID. Now, I believe it's coming whether we like it or not, and we'll have to make some hard decisions on what we're going to do with it, okay? Because I don't condemn technology. It's not the technology that is bad. It's the power and the people who control that power, right? We cover it every week. First, you start a digital ID for TSA checkpoints, and then, well, you can use it to get into a rock arena next, and then, you can pay as you go with your digital ID, right? Because you won't need your debit card anymore, your own bank account, because everything will be connected together, you know? And it paints a dystopian future that I don't see any good at when I'm being told that what I can and cannot purchase when. You understand? So it's something that we need to keep in our forefront because, like it or not, while they have us looking over here, this is what they're trying to do, okay? It's very simple. And Georgia is not the only state. There's several states. But they have to do this, and they have to do the slow rollout, and they have to do it in waves, and they have to do it on a voluntary basis, and they have to get people involved until it becomes mandatory, right? So just be aware of this. So let's see. I think that's all I got for tonight, really. I wouldn't want to go too crazy in anything. Who knows about the presidential election? Let's see. I was going to bring up, a couple of things real quick. Let's talk about these plea deals, all right? Me being in the situation I'm at with these plea deals, I'm not the expert on this, but let me give you my take on all these plea deals, all right? So here we have, Clown Show Kemp, Clown Show Fonnie Willis in the state of Georgia, Clown Show Donald Trump indicted, 19 people indicted in this RICO charge BS crap, right? Now let me explain something to you. If you don't already know how the law works and you don't know what a plea deal is, right? Because I've showed you a couple of articles now, right? And you know this. You guys are smart people. I've showed you a couple of articles where they try to manipulate you or gaslight you in a completely different direction, right? They're not telling you the facts. A plea deal is a plea deal. I deal with them all the time, okay? Now think about this for a second, because the first thing they say, we got them. We've got 3-4 people to get a plea deal already, blah, blah, blah. The noose is tightening around Orange Man's neck and blah, yada, yada, yada. On the contrary, what I see from all this very clearly is that the RICO cases are so weak, that they're bringing these people in there. Aren't all the small fish in the pond? They're bringing them in there, and before they even start, they've got a plea deal waiting on the table. All right? Now, why would any of these people take a plea deal? Because they're not guilty, right? They're not guilty. They're not guilty of RICO charges. This is the dumbest crap we've ever seen in our lifetime, really. I mean, this blows out Watergate and, anything you could possibly think of. Now, why would they do that? Explain how it works, all right? If you go to court, let's say you've got a criminal trafficking charge or a drug charge, right? They're going to offer you a plea, right? They're going to say, if you'll take this guilty plea, if you're first offender, we'll just give you the first offender, we're going to give you probation, or if it's this, this, and this, you just take this plea. It'll plea you out for lesser charge, and that way we'll get you on probation, and then you do this, this, and this, and this. All right? Whether you're really innocent or guilty, you're gonna get a plea deal. Now, here's the crux of our judicial system, right? If you decide that you're going to take it to the jury, the judge will inform you beforehand that when you said, listen, I'm offering you a plea deal, but if you take this to the jury and you lose this case, then you will be prosecuted up to the fullest extent of the law. So you might take a plea deal on a drug charge or something like that for, 5 years probation and a fine, versus trying to go to court saying that you're innocent and then losing the case because maybe you weren't innocent, right? Maybe you weren't. And instead of that wonderful plea deal, what they're going to do is they're going to give you 5 years in prison. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to just go ahead and give you the fullest extent of the law. Now, what's happening with all these people that's going in there? The RICO cases are so weak that they already have the plea deal waiting on the table. And they're threatening these people, and because they can, because it works. They say, you take the plea deal, we're going to drop the majority of the charges, but we want our little misdemeanor charge, right? And if you don't know the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony, it's a big difference, right? So these people are ended up with like single misdemeanor charges that they're pleading out guilty on, while the RICO charges are going away, right? So they don't have to go to court because the prosecution will put them through literal hell if they go to a jury trial. And what they'll do is it'll cost them their house, it'll cost them their livelihood, it'll cost them their cars, it'll cost them every single penny. They will drain their bank accounts trying to fight a case, a stupid, non-existent case, okay? It'll cost every single penny of their livelihood, their retirements, you name it, to fight this thing, when all they want is they want this little guilty plea. And the guilty plea doesn't mean a sack of crap. It's literally probation and a fine. But it looks real good coming from CNN or Politico. We got them. They're going to turn on state's evidence. Well, I watched 2 different lawyers, 2 different people saying they're not going to call these people up because they don't like what they had to say. They got their plea deal. And the Sidney Powell and everybody got to keep their stuff, and it's all fair. But the perception of it looks like, oh, we got them to sign a plea deal. So you need to understand the difference here. This is all smoke and mirrors. This is all gaslighting. These people have the plea deals waiting as soon as they get in the office. You telling me all I got to do to get out of all of this crap, this clown show, and don't think you wouldn't either. Okay, and I'm not Sidney Powell. She crazy. I like Sidney Powell, but she crazy. Some of these people are crazy. But you walk into some clown show like this, and they got a plea deal saying we're going to take away 90%, 95% of these charges. We're going to leave you this one charge. All you got to do is plead guilty to this, and you can walk away. Don't think for a second that you wouldn't do that when you're faced with your family and your livelihood and all this stuff. And then they get their little guilty plea, right? Because nobody understands that they threw away the RICO charge and everything else. You see? So they get the perception like they are just hound dogging it away. And on the other side, you get to get out with all your stuff because it's all bullcrap. That is the way this thing is working, okay? Now, I'm no expert, and I'm not saying that there's no guilty parties or there's no issues here, but that is how it works. You just need to be smart enough to know the difference. I just want you to know that they're gaslighting you with all this stuff. Chances are, I don't know, maybe Sidney Powell will testify against Trump, whatever, because I don't know where this is going, but I know how this crap works. I see it all the time. So understand these plea deals are nothing but crap. It's showing weakness from phony Willis. Okay, let's see. I think I covered everything. Yeah. So let's do comments, and then we'll get off of here. So let me go back up to everybody. Thanks for all the people that have been hanging out. David, I'm just getting started, brother. I very much look forward to working with you, all of you. David, if you're still listening, we need more patriots. We need more people who care about the Constitution, care about strengthening the party, and care about moving forward away from this establishment corporatism. I will be releasing a video of Colton Moore and his speech from the Walker County GOP, which was riveting. And the man is a fighter, and we're very proud of him. And I think you'll like the video. I'll release it as soon as I get time. So, but thank you. We need more. We need more people coming, more people getting involved. All right. So if you know somebody that you want to get them to get involved, get them involved. Anna, good evening, Anna Sharp. Freedom of speech, baby. Get out the vote. Absolutely. I'm gonna do an entire episode on getting out the vote and my opinion, of course, and like how we can strengthen getting out the vote, because a lot of people like to point the finger at people like me saying that we're just going to split the vote and we don't care about voting because we don't believe in dominion. Bloody, that's all a bunch of crap, man. I mean, if you think that's constructive talk, trust me when I say that you're shooting yourself in the foot, because not only are you sticking out like a sore thumb, but I mean, it's stupid. You know, not once have I ever said not to vote. We're all going to get out and vote. We're all going to strengthen this up to vote. But nobody's buying your BS stuff. I'm just tired of it. I'm calling it out. I'm tired of it. It's stupid. You know, I've seen. Whew, there's people I've lost respect for. I mean, people that I thought, and I watched some of the garbage that comes out of them, and I'm like, okay. But, you know, this is a necessary thing. It's necessary to go through some of these uneasy issues so you can weed out the weak from the strong. And it does. I'm not saying that that being weak is bad, right? Not everybody can be strong, and not everybody can do everything. But when you weed out the good from the bad. You have to go through all of these pains to realize who is really, against you, who is really fighting a completely different path. And so it's a good thing. I've said it from the get-go. This is a healthy thing that we're seeing, because now we know who the true people are, who the people are that have no agendas, who are trying to do the right thing, and the people that very clearly have an ulterior motive. So it's a good thing. Well, we're going to get out the vote. You mark my words, we're going to get out the vote. Southern Girl, Georgia Peach. Okay, thank you for the update. I did fix that. Sorry about that, y'all. She says, hello, Anna and David. And they both said hello. Southern Lost Ways and her foraging books are great. Every prepper needs them. Yes, I actually have the copies of the Lost Ways. I have this No Grid Survival project. I haven't even opened the Survival Ways yet. But I'm telling y'all, like I said, message me and I'm just free. I'm just doing this for free. I got it. It's my copy. It's right here. It's great. And it's got all kinds of cool stuff in it. And so what you get, like, why not put that in your arsenal, right? Why not put that in paper form where you can vacuum seal this thing up. You can make copies of it. and it's there, and you may not ever need it. But then one day you might want to build something out in your garden. You want to catch rainwater, whatever. So, all right, and a 2-tier system in every flipping state. That's correct, and I don't know that it's even an inhuman thing, right? I mean, 2-tier system, there's always going to be an upper echelon. One reason why I could never get on with the anarchists was because no matter what happens, and I've said it, you're always going to have a hierarchy, right? Sure, anarchy, everybody do whatever they want. Libertarianism, yeah, do what you want. No government, no that. No, you have to have a rule of law because it's natural. It's inherent. It's inherent in human and all walks of life. And you're always going to have a hierarchy. So I'm not even saying it's a good and bad thing, but we need people to control it. We're supposed to have checks and balances on everything. It doesn't look like we have any checks and balances when it's gotten this out of hand, But yeah, there's a 2-tier system, and it's bleeding out now. You can see it better than ever. And it was there in the 50s, and it was there during slavery. I mean, it's always been there, Just because the tables are turned, it's something that we need to learn from, right? We need to learn from our mistakes from our past so that we don't recreate them, which is what we're doing right now with war, but I'm not going to get off on that. Anna, the J6 arrestees are political prisoners. You dang right. I'm sorry I didn't get to show you the Owen Schroyer. You can go look it up. It's on all the headlines right now, but the man's in solitary confinement right now. You want to talk about mistreatment. You want to talk about gulags. When dang Hillary Clinton come out last week telling everybody that we need to go to re-education camps. This stuff is real, man. And they want to call me a conspiracy theorist, and you've got people on there telling that we need to be de-brainwashed. What? I mean, this is where I have problems. When it's blatantly obvious, it might have even been this obvious 10 years ago, but the Alex Jones jar is full, y'all. And we still got people out there saying that, oh, you believe in all this crazy crap. Oh, but Hillary Clinton can get on TV and tell us all we need to be deprogrammed. Oh, there's nothing to that. Or Bill Gates can say, hey, we need to depopulate the earth, right? Those people can say it, but when I say it, I'm the crazy one, It's ridiculous. He OD'd on fentanyl. Yes, if you go back and you look, there's been 2 autopsies, Southern girl. 2 autopsies that were where he had huge amounts of fentanyl in his system. And that's basically he died of a overdose, heart attack type thing. It gets murky when you get into it, right? Because we all feel for George Floyd. I don't care who you are. Seeing a man like that and in that situation with a police officer, there's no doubt in my mind. It's kind of tragic, right? Nobody wants to see that, but you have to go and get into the murky waters. Now, why is it so murky, right? Because they don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know the justice of the situation. They only want you to know the perception of a knee on a neck, and that's what they want you to focus on. So you have to look outside of everything and be like, well, there's more to this story, right? And I'm not saying it was right or wrong. I'm not even saying Derek Chauvin, whatever, What I'm saying is nothing is what it seems. And the waters are murky because they want them to be murky. They don't want you to look into it. They don't want you to see the autopsy. They don't want you to see all of these things, okay? But it's there, and it's plain, and it's clear. David Naha had enough in his system to kill an elephant, according to a coroner's report. Thank you, sir. That is one of the autopsies. I don't know if it said it verbatim like that, but basically he knew the cops were coming at him. He knew that whatever he had done, I can't even remember, was he tried to pass off a fake $100 bill, who knows, and it was in the store. So he downed a bunch of fentanyl because he didn't want to get charged for it. So you have this tragic form of events that happen that nobody can even talk about. Everybody's too scared. Nobody can say anything because if you say anything against it, guess what? You're an evil person. A lot more to it. Anna, Chauvin should appeal his conviction. I'm sure he is. I don't know why he wouldn't be appealing his conviction. I mean, no doubt he's in prison, but from what I understand, I think he's got a couple appeals going on. So, but, yeah, absolutely, I would be. Jennifer Jones Hilligus, good to see you. It started March 2020. What she's referring to, of course, is World War III. And you might be very well right, because when the history books come back, I don't know when the exact time is going to show. But I can guarantee you that we are already in World War III. And the history books will show this. It very well could go back to 2020. And you know what? I believe that's when the Civil War basically started. I think the Civil War probably started about 2018. And I look at the COVID as like a Cold War type situation. I mean, because we were just feeling our way through this. I mean, we were getting blasted and hit on all sides, right? But I mean, you go back and you look at everything. Look at the past. Look at what we've been through with COVID, and it still kills me to this day that people don't question government and don't question their motives and try to make me feel like that I'm some sort of theorist when we've been through all that we've been through, and we're here now in the midst of a multifaceted proxy war. Y'all are killing me. All right, here we go. Jennifer Jones, Hilligan's got to feed the deep state. Amen to that. That's exactly what they're doing, and all of your dollars and all of your money is going to be gone, and Joe Biden's going to send billions more to every other country while they blow each other to hell over a religious war. And then guess what? They're going to come try to draft all of our kids, and they're going to put them up on the front lines, and they're going to demolish our dollar, and then we're going to, God knows where this is going to end. But every single day, it's just getting worse, right? We're not going to focus on that. Anna, how was Chauvin supposed to know Floyd's behavior was due to an overdose? He was a repeat offender, and Chauvin just did his job. And if anybody was paying attention to the court case, the knee wasn't necessarily on the neck the entire time. All that, there's so many things to this case, right? I was watching it in real time, like watching the case, getting the highlights. I mean, there's so much more to this. But yet we're supposed to celebrate this man like this was some heroic incident, and I'm just like, this clown world. This is a shit show, right? Lisa Adams, U.S. I'm feeling pretty puny about the U.S. right now. God only knows. I mean, they're desperate. You want to get me off in the 2024. I'm going to go ahead and say it now. I don't even think we're going to have an election in 2024. So I said it, and I'm going to stick by it, and hopefully I'm wrong, and you guys can load up the comments saying I'm wrong. But I do not think we're going to have a presidential election in 2024. Hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But the way I see it right now, the desperate attempts by Fonnie Willis and by everybody else in New York and all these people and Trump, it's going to get to a point where they're going to get so desperate that they'll have us locked down in martial law or whatever. I don't see an election in 24. So, I said it. Anna, this sounds like some communist backdoor from China simulating to social credit. Well, sure. I mean, I shared you all the documentary this year back in May that was sent to me. It was like, oh, God, I can't remember. Maybe 2018, 2019, right before COVID, of the future of AI. It was a PBS documentary. It blew my mind because I've always watched bits and pieces and watched my kind of side. And here was a PBS documentary completely laying out that China is 10 years ahead of America in their society, where you can't walk through a door without being retinal scanned, without being facial recognized. You're completely, totally controlled in every way, shape, or form. And they're trying it here. Had a guy that shared a post yesterday about the Taco Bell in Chickamauga. In a couple weeks, they're not going to have any cashiers anymore. When you walk in, there's going to be nobody at the cashier at the front end. Guess what? You're going to have to go up and use the kiosk. Am I saying that's a bad thing? No. I'm going to keep my personal opinions to myself. But guess what? All of these places all around are slowly doing away with the employees and letting the technology take over and you're going to do through the kiosk, and you're going to do all these things digitally, and it's coming. And it's coming. So, whatever. Maybe there's something I'm missing, right? Maybe there's something I don't understand about all this. Maybe is there a silver lining to all this? I don't think so. David Naha, don't need ID for my hang glider. That's the only way I fly. Oh, man, I'm going to leave that one alone. That's funny. Lisa Adams, it's one big spider web that traps us all while we aren't paying attention. Well, I mean, we live in a debt-based system, right? We didn't know this. I mean, as you see the inflation rising, I mean, completely out of control. But of course we're debt-based, right? I say it all the time. You go out to Home Depot, and I'm not going to pick on Home Depot. You go out to a store to buy anything, and the first thing they'll offer you is a credit card, right? And the intoxication of that. Well, wow, I can get it right now, and then I'm going to get 20% off my purchase, plus $100 back if I use this credit card at 35% interest. That you paid $20 for something that you end up paying $70 back for, right? That's a debt-based system. They got you trapped in 30-year mortgages, folks. They got us tracked so that we have to work and we have to keep pumping this economy, and we can't do things like live off the grid. You know, we can't have solar panels. We can't have our free water, right? We got to keep this thing rolling. And so it's a debt-based system, and it kind of sucks sometimes when you realize that, right? David, has absolutely nothing to do with RICO. Amen to that, brother. It does not. I wonder if Trump will plead guilty. That's a good question. I mean, what is it? March 12th? I can't remember. But at some point in time is when they're right before Super Tuesday, right? They're going to have him in court. Who knows? This is all a clown show. I mean, and they're just knocking these 18 people out. They've got a time frame, and they've got them by the kahunas. They know that there's nobody that's going to fight them. I mean, look at like Roger Stone, Alex Stone, all these people. Roger Stone nearly lost everything. And the FBI raided him in the dead of the night. Y'all remember that, you know. He literally lost everything. All right? So they already got these plea deals waiting. You know, they're going to sign them, and then they're going to go their little way, and they're going to take bits and pieces of what they can use. Who in the world knows? And, of course, we know we don't have a governor that will stand up to this because he's welcoming this, right? He wants Donald Trump to go down, you know. But I am the one splitting up the party, you know. If SP testifies against Trump, I'm going to be very disappointed. I will, too. I don't think she has anything to testify. I don't think any of these people really have anything to testify. Like I said, you got to go through the muck, right? But when you realize that the original charges of this RICO bullcrap, and then the fact that they threw them all out to get them on these little misdemeanors, it's so weak. It is so weak. That doesn't mean that they're, you know, you can, what's the famous words? You can prosecute a ham sandwich, or you can indict a ham sandwich. You can. That's our justice system. And it's not supposed to be that way, but it blatantly is. And it's weaponized. It's weaponized. So I'll be disappointed too, but we'll see. I doubt Trump will. He's a bull. And that's why they're so scared of Donald Trump, because he don't really give a crap. I mean, he's going to keep fighting it, you know. He's probably, I mean, the reason I like Trump so much is because he's not part of this game. He's not deep state. Like, if it were me, I don't know. I don't know if I could go that far. Maybe if I was a billionaire or whatever. I mean, I would. I'm already planning going that far. But my point is, like, I'm not in that situation, right? How do I know what I would do and what I wouldn't do? But, man, he is not backing down. And to me, that's the man who's going to get my vote. So, yes, we hope so. We need to have a prep meeting with folks in our area. We're going to need each other's back. Anna, that's a good point, and that's something we want to focus on in the near future. I'm trying to make some plans for it. The holidays are going to get pretty crazy, as always. After the holidays, come January, February, we're going to roll out some stuff, so that is not going unnoticed. David saw that book on my feed. I'll check it out. Like I said, you need help with it, let me know. I think it's worth it, man. I've been messing with it now for about a week. And it's worth having that arsenal. It's worth having that in your arsenal, right? Because you can have every gun in the world. You can have all of this great gear and all of these cool ideas on your computer. But when the power goes out, or when you got to use this stuff, you may not have a physical copy of it, right? You may not have this stuff. You may not have the necessity to use this stuff. You've got to plan now while you have a chance, because you're not losing anything. I'm not losing anything by having this book in my hands, in my possession, with me. If I only have it on this computer, I don't have nothing. Okay? So, let's see. Anna Sharp, I'd like to Black Hill to be size. It'd make day. All right, I'm not sure about that one, but it's probably a good joke. Georgia, Chris Bill must be getting his talking points from Hillary. I'm going to leave that one alone. So, that Lord have mercy. Okay, Southern girl. I knew he died from fentanyl. Oh, okay, I got you. I knew you knew that, but I think I was explaining it more for the people. But yeah, I know you knew that. So, I probably was just in the moment, but yeah. All right, Lisa was right in the middle of COVID, but no mask on any of the EMTs, cops, etc. Oh yeah, no, I'm not even going. I'm already at 110. So you're right. COVID was one of the biggest inside jobs, is what I'll say right now. Ridiculous. Southern Girl, not to question or research for yourself at this point is beyond stupid. Amen. Amen. It really is. It really is. Anna, I watched the videos from different points. Chauvin wasn't applying total pressure. You're right about that. And if you go back and you even look at the defense that was during the trial, which is probably hard to see now, there was a lot of little controversy over that because there was some pretty good evidence that things are not what they seem, right? So, Anna, Biden, by the way, is not filed for New Hampshire primary. I need to look into that because he runs his mouth. He's like, President ice cream. We don't know what the hell he's doing, right? So, Southern, I have my own personal library. Amen to that. And I applaud that. And I think every one of you should have your own library out there. So, listen, folks, it's been a pretty good one tonight. Didn't want to go too doom and gloom. We need to get to know our new Speaker of the House, right? We need to make sure that our people and our representatives know that we need to hold them to the fire, make sure that they are working for the people, right? There he is, Mike Johnson. And as always, we need to continue to get involved. We need to go to our GOPs, find out who the people are, find out what's going on there, figure out which ways you can help, who you can make friends with, who you can move forward with, who are your enemies. And you just need to get involved. You need to start up a live stream once a month, once a week. You need to start up a YouTube channel like XXL Dude. So many people that I know that are doing things behind the scenes. You need to just get involved, all right? That's all I got for tonight. It's been a blast. I'll probably see you again in about 2 weeks. We might do a call-in next week. I'm working on it. Other than that, stay safe out there. Stay prepared.